This Fleet Equipment Unscripted interview is presented by Hendrickson, a leading manufacturer of heavy-duty suspension systems and components to the global commercial transportation industry. Visit hendrickson-intl.com to learn more.
Hi everyone, I'm Jason Morgan, Content Director for Fleet Equipment, and welcome to Fleet Equipment Unscripted. Today we're talking with Doug Adamson, Senior Vice President, Sales and Marketing at Transervice. Doug, thanks so much for taking the time to connect here.
Thank you for having me, Jason.
So I'm really excited to talk to you today because I have this inkling that fleet trucks are getting older, supply chain pandemics making it harder to get trucks back into fleet operations. And so I'm guessing that fleet maintenance trends are changing. So I'm glad to talk with you to find out if that's true. So we'll just kick it off here. Transervice does a lot of maintenance, a lot of contract maintenance. What are the current truck maintenance trends happening right now? What contract maintenance work is in demand? Are you seeing any sea changes?
Let me start with your first question. As far as the climate goes, currently there's a major issue, as it is within all industries, the issue being labor or a shortage of the labor. It is extremely hard to hire technicians and fill shops with those technicians. Recently, we were looking to expand our operations into the Boston market, for example, and we were needing to hire some technicians, and we quickly found that there were roughly 300 open positions within and around the Boston market, within a 25-mile radius. So the labor is extremely hard to find these days. And the cost of that labor is getting very expensive as well, especially for anybody with some additional skills such as refrigeration mechanics that would work on reefer units. So that's been a real challenge for everybody. Because of that shortage and the lack of labor within the shop facilities, a lot of our customers or prospective customers and across the entire industry, they're having to send their equipment out to get repaired at other service facilities and not necessarily at their own shops. So that's costing them an inordinate amount of money, where they may pay upwards of $200 an hour for an outside facility for repairs versus doing it in-house, where you're paying a technician much less than that. And because of that additional cost, what we're seeing is a lot of people are deferring their maintenance. They're only doing the bare minimum, just the essentials. But essentials really constitute getting their preventive maintenance done on a timely manner. But we're even seeing now that the PMs are not getting done, in that time frame that they should be getting done, and that's just leading to more and more maintenance issues down the road.
Right. I mean, there's a lot of juggling of costs there, right? You're trying to get technicians on board, but onboarding costs are crazy. Truck maintenance demands are increasing there, and the whole demand for trucks and freight right now too, to get trucks to where they need to go, right? And deliver and just basically do your job. And it's a balance. So do I bring that truck on time, or do I send it out to another job, to a different technician? There's just a lot of juggling fleets are doing now to try to control those costs.
It is. It's a real challenge for anybody within the transportation industry and really any industry for that matter, the lack of labor. So we're definitely feeling it here.
Right, sure. So equipment's getting older, trucks are getting older, PMs might be sliding a little bit. What are you seeing coming into the shop that's surprising? Do you have any standout maintenance service segments that are on the rise that you typically wouldn't see a fleet needing, or maybe they're getting into different maintenance they haven't needed before?
Yeah, that's a great question, Jason. So overall, with everything that's happening, and again, I wish I could say it was segregated only to our industry, but it's global. Is the supply chain issues of getting new equipment, or anything new, a car, a truck, a computer. There's just it's the myriad of products trying to meet consumer demand these days. But particularly in the transportation industry, it is very difficult to get a brand new piece of equipment. Therefore, everybody is extending the life of the equipment, where normally, there's certain parameters that you want to keep that equipment within, either an age or a mileage standpoint. And well beyond that these days, just because of the lack of new equipment and even the lack of used equipment for that matter. There's not a lot of used equipment on the market today. And the equipment that is available and is for sale, you're paying almost as much for a brand new tractor as you would for a trailer, as you would for a used one. I mean, for a new one. So the used market is very, very strong as well. You asked about, other services that are being done that maybe would not normally. Um, so we're seeing it a lot around trailers, and particularly refrigerated trailers. People are extending the life of those. We're seeing people hang on to those. The actual trailer is very, very difficult to get these days. Therefore, people are just getting a new refrigerated unit, taking off the old one that is probably beyond its useful life already, and then putting on a new one. I mean, that was, I don't say common practice in the past. Some people did it, some operators did it, but most people just, got sold off the entire trailer with their refrigerated unit once it's past its useful life, and then get a brand new one. Right. And again, now it's the trailers are very difficult to get. So we're seeing that, and then we're also seeing customers with the power equipment, the tractors and trucks, where they're simply getting their engines rebuilt and doing a complete in-frame of the engines. So that's not been normal lately either. Again, you would hear some people, some operations, some companies would do that in the past, but it was very few, and it's becoming more and more commonplace today.
Yeah.
So that's an issue.
Yeah, that's interesting. The engine one, I definitely costly. Not super surprising though, because maybe, fleet life cycles with engines, they typically kind of kick them to the secondary market after 3 or 4 years, right? When they've kind of hit that maintenance. So if you're a second owner, you might be rebuilding the engine. The reefer trailer though is super interesting, especially given the importance of thermal efficiency for those trailers, right? Clearly you want to put a better unit on it, but then you just want to make sure that you can control that temperature if it's a safety issue, or making sure you're maintaining the temperature there.
They're very sensitive, and with the food safety regulations these days, it has to maintain a certain temperature. And you're right, the integrity of that trailer does come into question at some point, at some age.
Right. Well, and that's a lot on getting new equipment and those kind of things. What about on the leasing side, right? So how are you seeing that develop? Our fleets getting more into that leasing side, and how's the total cost of ownership working out for those fleets?
So that's another great question. So the major leasing companies, some of our competitors, and of course we're an affiliate of National Lease, right. So we have pretty good buying power ourselves. But it's the leasing companies that are really taking up most of the build slots with the OEMs, sure. Be it trailers or tractors. So because they're the one, particularly the larger customers of the OEMs, and so they provide them with those build slots, and they get priority because of that. So what ends up happening is a lot of the dealerships, they're not getting the new tractors, the new equipment, and because all the leasing companies are taking up all the building production. Therefore, if you want a new tractor, it's almost, or trailer, that's really almost where you have to go, is to one of the leasing companies, and it works out well. There's still the surcharges are there. The OEMs keep tacking on more and more surcharges due to material increases with everything that costs to build a new vehicle, including the labor. The labor has increased as well, as we discussed earlier. But really, there's an advantage to that from a cost of ownership, because it is locking in your costs for the next 5, 6, 7, or 8 years, however long you lease that vehicle. So you may pay that surcharge now, but you're not exposed to additional surcharges down the road if you prolonged it another year or 2 or 3 to replace that aging equipment that you might have out there. In addition to just the purchase price or the lease cost, you're also locking in the maintenance cost. So typically there's a maintenance cost associated with the lease, and you're getting that cost at today's prices. So if labor is an exorbitant amount over time, you're locked in for the term of that lease at that rate. So it's budgetable. You know what you're going to be paying, and then you can, it helps you or helps them be able to, budget out their money and for new price cost proposals to their own customers. In one other advantage there too is they typically the leasing companies and they provide the maintenance as we do. They have the labor, they have the ready labor there in their shops to maintain this equipment, and the suppliers from a part standpoint to make sure they have a steady stream of the parts coming in to repair the vehicles also.
Yeah, I mean, going back to it too, right? Leasing predictability, right? Costs are what they are, but being able to take those surprises out and lend some predictability in what your costs are going to be, right? And then you mentioned even maintenance at today's cost, and I know people might think, well, that's a lot today, but man, costs don't go down, right? I mean, TMC has done a great job putting out studies showing how maintenance costs are increasing year over year, right? Leasing, you would have a vested interest with your customers to make sure those trucks are up and running and getting the maintenance they need, PMs when it slides, you're getting everything done as you need them. It can just lend a little predictability. Yes, the costs are what they are, but it could be the difference of, do you want to go into growth mode right now, or do you want to just be in get it done okay mode, I guess, right?
Absolutely. So it's, in a nutshell, it's a very challenging environment right now overall in the industry, in the transportation industry, with between the maintenance and the acquisition of new equipment, and just overall stability. So it is very, very volatile right now. Everything that's happening within our industry, but you can circumvent some of that at least through perhaps looking at some outsourcing alternatives. Could save you some money and help stabilize operations.
Right, for sure. Well, Doug, I appreciate you bringing some guidance here to the volatility and talking with me. I appreciate you taking the time to connect. I learned a lot.
Thank you, Jason.
I'm sure I'll be talking to you again very soon.